Okay, so this is now a JPEG that I'm working on in Illustrator, and it's no longer editable. So look, if I zoom in, you can see it actually has pixels, but it has everything I need, all the lines. The problem is I need to re-vectorize this, so let me show you how to do that. If you select the image, and then there's a couple ways. This is the default way. If you already have all the presets, I actually don't like using that just because sometimes it doesn't give me options I want to use. So instead I go to Window, excuse me, Image Trace, and this shows up. And it's essentially all the same, oopsie, I didn't undo. All the same things that this one has, except, again, more options as you can see. So I can get rid of some of the advanced stuff. And really, this just comes from playing around with it. Obviously, this is a black and white image, and we want to keep it that way. In terms of the tracing result, we're just going to say tracing result is the default because we don't want to see outlines and we don't want to see the source image. And I'm going to say, let's try just a black and let's try sketch start. Let's see what comes up then. And I'm going to say OK to that, and go ahead and trace that. And this one's pretty straightforward, and that looks pretty good. If I zoom in, you can see that things aren't exactly the way they were. It kind of messes with some things, like some lines are a little bit lumpy bumpy. So obviously, depending on how you play around with these presets, it's going to give you different results, but I'm pretty happy with that. So the next part is this is not yet a vector. It needs to be expanded. You can see if I zoom in again, the the pixels are gone. But now if I hit expand, now I've gotten all those individual editable anchor points, which is pretty cool. So if there's something I want to change at this point, I can. But now that I have this image live trace, this is where the fun comes in. I can take this image, select it all, and go to Object, Live Paint, Make. And now this is ready to be painted. Now, for my final image, I'm going to want to make two versions of this. Well, three versions. One's just it's going to be a simple line version. Another one's going to be black and white, and a third one is going to be color. So before I go any further, I'm going to want to save this 3 different times. So I'm going to save a copy, and I'm going to call the copy. In this case, it's Live Paint Black and White, so BW, and I'll save that. And then, okay, and then I'll go back and do it again, save a copy again, and then my final one, I'm going to call it color. So obviously, if this was just a straight up regular line one, I would leave this alone and open up. Let's open up the BW one, so black and white. So here's where the fun comes in. So I'm going to take this, and if I go over to the Live Paint Bucket tool, I can now, as you see when I highlight over these areas, a little red indicator shows up. And if I decide that I want this to now be black, because this is my black and white image, this is where I'm going to think about adding shapes. And I want to show you something kind of cool. So let's say I make this black. Obviously, if I make this black, I'm losing that area. And this is the neat thing about this is you can really start to think about, do you want to see all those lines? Does it make sense to see all those lines? You know, do you want to kind of get rid of something? And then watch this. If I make this white, this is kind of neat. Anywhere those lines are touching, let's see if I can get this, zoom in, zoom. It's being a little difficult. I can actually stroke, look at that. I just made all my white lines black. Or rather, black lines white. So if I undo that, it goes back to that. So you can do a lot of really cool things here, but I want you to think about how you're creating attention with a piece. So that's how you do the first one. And I'll show you how to do color because I'm going to show you a time-saving move for the color one in the next video.